Hello everybody and welcome to a very special edition of On the Record with Out on That Line. And today I'm going to be introducing you to a band that you may not know, but you'll be super glad you do by the time this interview is over. I am talking about the Vermont-based band Phantom Airwave. Saturday, April 16th, 2022, the band is going to be releasing their first full-length album. I have had the privilege of hearing this album top to bottom, and let me just tell you, you have no idea what you're in for. This is your opportunity to get in on the ground floor before these gentlemen explode into the stratosphere. I would also be remiss in my duty if I did not give an extra special shout out to the one and only Tanner, who continues his march towards being grandfathered into the channel against his will. He helped me get this video all set up for the shoot. Could not have done this without him. So Tanner, thank you very, very much for all of your help. So join us and get to know Phantom Airwave.
I'm Eric Luttrell. I'm keys player, one of the vocalists, and sound man.
General handy person.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Make sure everything
Sean.
works.
I'm the guitar player, vocalist, and also one of the songwriters. Eric is probably our key songwriter, but I write part of them too.
We've definitely also started writing more together as a full band, which helps.
Yeah.
Typically with a lot of groups, like what will happen usually is somebody will come with a bunch of music. That'll get worked on, and then eventually, at least in my experience, eventually you start writing together, or, you know, Sean and I have probably paired together more than any of the other band members insofar as just getting together to write. But in my experience, it's usually been somebody comes with a lot and then it evolves. But
and things have grown out of like the original lineup of the band. So we've been a band for 7 years now.
And change.
So there's been a few different members in the band. And one of the original members, even before I joined the band, we still play a few of his songs. It's funny, like we've just kind of picked up music along the way and kept playing it with those people's permission. And then Eric had a lot of music that he had before the band started. I had a few songs from before the band started that developed later on. So we kind of carried those in, and then there's also been a lot of music that has like grown out of the band too.
Anybody who knows me is going to know I'm a huge freak, so Humphreys McGee is one of the biggest influences. Of course, they play everything, so there's that stylistically. One of the obvious ones being in a improvisational band in Vermont, Fish, Dopapod, a lot of classical music too. I grew up at like classical music, jazz, Herbie Hancock. I mean, there's so much music I listen to, so it's all in there, which is why we tend to jump around a lot stylistically, but still try to make it our own.
It took a while to get to the point where we started to really incorporate lots of improvisation. But after really growing together as a band, it kind of became like an outlet to keep the music to feel alive, which felt great, honestly. And it really helped us develop our ears and listening to each other and growing more competent in just communication in the moment. As far as my writing style goes, I mean, I would say big classic rock guy. I mean, I love Led Zeppelin's probably my favorite band ever. And then a lot of modern stuff too. I mean, I'm a big Khruangbin fan. I really love Tame Impala and some of those like more modern psych rock bands, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. Eric brings a lot of those classical music influences. Glenn, our drummer, also brings a lot of, he's a music teacher, so the Latin jazz influence is inspired there, some classical jazz things.
Yeah, our sax player, Ben Irish, I mean, he's also very classically trained, went to school for music education, so, you know, a lot of Tower of Power stuff coming from him, and of course being a horn player, you know. So yeah, and our bass player, Dan Jolly, I mean, he comes with his own breadth of knowledge, and the nice thing is we all come from different places, yet somehow we bring it all together. The album coming out has Latin jazz rock, some, you know, 70s ballad style stuff all on Michael McDonald, like some prog elements, some
New Orleans, like,
yeah, I mean,
kind of funk stuff.
It's all over the place. I mean, so
it's really a cosmic gumbo.
What are we, 10 years old?
How long ago did this record start?
somewhere in 6 or 7 BC. I don't know. Like,
Dude. So, I mean, but for real, like we started recording this in what, 2019 or 2018?
17, I think, actually.
2017?
Because we were mixing the album for the second time, actually, at the beginning of the whole, 2020 kerfluffle. It's been done, but we didn't want to put it out in the middle of all of that.
Bands, I feel like, drive themselves forward through the connection of the members bouncing ideas off one another and kind of pushing that ball forward. And when everyone had to become an isolated unit, I feel like that ball stopped getting pushed forward so much. I think pretty much we got it. We went right back into the studio, had all of our notes ready to go for like after some restrictions loosened up. Went back into Tank and Rob O'Day from Tank Studios in Burlington. Did a great job, great engineer, did a good job with the mixing, and then we had Ben Collette do the mastering, also a Tank guy. So thanks, guys. Appreciate your efforts.
Yeah, really appreciate it. As people who are, relatively unknown to the world, not relatively, we're unknown to the world.
Unknown to the world.
We're unknown to the world. Let's be real here.
We are truly phantoms.
We are, yes, exactly. I mean, yes, we play tons of shows in the Burlington, Chittenden County area, but like, we're not known. So like, in order to get our name out there, we've got to do a lot of promotion. Going forward, we're going to be releasing a lot of EPs or individual tracks to try to build momentum, use social media, things like that. Just knowing that that's the way to go forward until people do have a name that can release records. I mean, frankly, probably the single that we have out, which is Don't Ever Stop. That was one of the early collaborative writes with the whole band, even with some members who aren't around anymore. It's just, it speaks to us in a way that was like, we were coming into being a band that could write together. Yeah, I mean, there's tons of songs on that album that I wrote individually, but like, a band is a sum greater than its individual parts. I don't care how good the song is, when you can have multiple writers on there, I think it always elevates it. In my personal opinion, obviously there's, songs penned by one individual who are some of the greatest of all time, but my preference is to write with other people. I'd rather bring an idea and then riffing and bouncing ideas off of, and it creates an excitement that is, I don't know, it's intoxicating, really.
I'm really, really proud of the lyrics and some of the guitar woven and the basically the entire bridge section of Never the Same. I thought that part came together really well. It was a song I had written for an old college band of mine that never really felt like it was finished, and so it was really fun to bring it to this project, have it all done, and then some of those dual guitar lines and the way that that's mixed were kind of inspired moments that were just basically, I did one guitar take, we did another guitar solo take, put them over each other, and they happened to work and sound really beautiful, and that was just totally serendipitous.
And I put like 5 layers of keys, and it just kept building, and it was great.
I just find that part of the song is like just one of those rare moments in the studio that just shows you like how much luck is involved sometimes in the writing and the music, especially when it comes to recording it.
What's really cool about the album is like the original drummer on that is Chris McCarthy, our drummer for a while. But we brought Glenn Wallace, as our drummer in the band when Chris left. But what's great about Glenn is he was able to be on the album. I mean, there's so many great things about Glenn, but like he was able to be on the album as a trumpet player because he's a great trumpet player. So he could add, and him and Ben could do the horn lines and do 5 or 6 horn parts all stacked on top of each other with flugelhorn and trumpet and alto and tenor. So like not only did he get to be on the album, but like got to be part of those arrangements and all that. So it's nice to have former members, current members, all on the album. The mixing, obviously, mastering, all done in Tank Studio. Incredible studio. It was great to work with Rob through the whole mixing process. But except for lead vocals and B3, the entire album was recorded in this room. The drums were literally recorded right here. So the fact that we could do this in this studio here not only like allowed us to like really hone in on things, it just was comfortable. I practically grew up in this room, so to have something where it's just like, I spend so much time here, I can noodle on things, I can really take the time. Like we could spend 5 hours one night tweaking guitar parts, like, no, and even sometimes come back to it later, or keys parts, like, God, the hours I spent on that. like, and just get it right without feeling like, oh no, money, studio time, $80 an hour, It was just sort of like, let's get it right. Get the right take. There's no rush. So we've got Dan Jolly on bass, just bass, no vocals.
Just the bass.
Just bass.
Dan Jolly.
Ben Irish on saxophone.
Snake. We
Snake.
call him Snake.
Ben Snake Irish. That's Sean Spicy, by the way.
Nobody calls me that, but everybody calls me that. For sure.
And we've got Glenn Wallace on drums and trumpet.
And trumpet on the record, yes.
He'll even be pulling trumpet out actually at the album release. And then I do want to say on the record, we do have one of our one-time bassists, Cody Horseman. He's on a track or two on the album. And then our one-time drummer, Chris McCarthy, is drumming on every single track on the album. Great to have him on that.
Thanks, Matt Gadwa, for the work that you did do with us.
Yes.
And the time you spent. Thank you.
This has always been an experience with family. Like, you, Ben, and I have been stable with this thing for the last 7 years. Other people have come and gone, but they've always been part of the family. We'd always welcome them back. I mean, hell, you're the best man at my wedding. I mean, it really comes down to being family and friends. I mean, that's the thing. We all got to be friends playing in this. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Go the way of the police. So the album's called Interstellar Transmission.
And it's going to drop April 15th on all streaming platforms, and our CDs will be available probably in the greater Chittenden County area at hopefully your local record stores if they'd be so kind to help us out.
The website we got together, phantomairwave.com. You can join our mailing list. We can get information out when we have upcoming shows, anything like that.
If you're cool and from somewhere we can drive to, and you can put on a show that you think we'd be a good fit for, reach out to us. We'd love that.
Thanks for watching. We are Phantom Airwave. Or at least 2 of the 3.
Yeah.
5. I can count.
I think we got it, boys.
As a band, we now have a rate, which is our quote. They have to pay us this much money. Even if we do a bad job, they still have to pay us this much money.